Hey guys, makeup is my therapy. So if you find makeup therapeutic, join me on my first everyday makeup drawer, the Fibro edition. We'll go through the makeup holy grails that I used last week. Then we'll shop my stash for forgotten favorites for the coming week. If you want to know what products I use to get this full face, grab your makeup bag, keep watching, and we'll get ready together. Okay guys, so this is what I curated when I shot my stash last week, and I used, I think, mostly everything. So I'll go through it and then we'll pick out some new makeup. So I started with my Summer Fridays ShadeDrops in Broad Spectrum SPF 30. I wish it was SPF 50. That would be great. I haven't used it. I use it under the base of my makeup. It sits really nicely under makeup. Doesn't pill or anything like that. It's not quite white, it has a little bit of a tint to it. It's a little bit glowy and kind of works as a bit of a primer too, if you like. I had a couple of glowy bases that I would either mix in with a moisturizer or I'd mix in with a foundation. So these three items here. So I would use the Embryolisse cream and either one of those glowy products. So this is nice. It's pretty moisturizing. I like it during the evening as well. It's a nice formula. Smells kind of like what you'd think your grandmother's cold cream would be like. And this is the L'Oreal True Match Lumi Glotion in the shade 902 Light Glow. This is new to my collection. And I would mix that in with the cream. And it's really, really pretty. So under makeup, or I'd wear it on its own, and gives a really nice glow. I haven't tried this yet mixing in with foundation, but I will. This is Bare Minerals Bare Pro Glow Highlighter in the shade Free, and it's almost done. It's fairly old. I don't know if they make it anymore. I'm just about done there. And I'll show you what that looks like. This one I would also sometimes mix in with my foundation to give it a little bit of a glow, which is nice, or use it as a highlighter. I find using it as a highlighter, you really have to work it into the skin or it kind of sits on top of the skin, but it's nice when you mix it in with a foundation or a base. Hopefully you can see that glow. There we go. Then I would move into foundation if I was using it. This is a little sample that I got from Sephora of the House Labs foundation, Triclone Skin something or other. I think this is in the shade 120 or 160 light, I forget which. It's a pretty good shade match for me. A little bit goes a long way. You don't need very much. It's medium coverage, medium to full, I think you could build it up to, but you don't need very much or it sits in my fine lines anyway. Then I'd move into cream complexion products. So I have the Fenty Beauty Matchstick in Amber 01, and I would use this as a contour. I wasn't using bronzer this past week, just contour. So that's really nice. A nice cool color, doesn't look too gray, and it blends out really nicely to make a nice shadow. And for cream blush, I was using the Stila convertible color. It's dual lip and cheek cream in the shade Magnolia, and it's a mauve and very pretty. I love that, and I was using that on my cheeks and on my lips. And for eyeshadow, I had a few. I had two of the Laura Mercier Caviar sticks. One in the shade Tuxedo, which is a black one, and one in the shade Intense Moonlight. And these are really pretty, so I'll show you the black one first. So the black one's really nice. I'd use that in the outer corner or along the lash line and blend that out. And then Intense Moonlight, it's broken, so hopefully that doesn't pop right out. This one's almost like a silvery gold sparkly color. That one I'd use sometimes all over the lid or in the inner corner. Really pretty. That's probably one of my favorites, I think. I also bought a new eyeshadow a couple of weeks ago, and this is the Stila, what's it called? Shimmer and Glow Liquid Eyeshadow in the shade Kitten, which is quite a popular one, I guess. And it's sort of a soft, glimmery pink. And I loved this one too. Sometimes I'd wear all three together. So that's really, really pretty. And then I had a powder eyeshadow palette from Essence. I like to mauve it. Nice little mirror for a very reasonably priced palette, and really pretty shades. I'll try and swatch them. So I'll do these 3 here first, and then I'll swatch these bottom 3. So there are 3 mattes and 3 shimmers. Yeah, so really pretty palette. I love that. They're really soft. There's a little bit of kickback, but that doesn't bother me. Very pretty. So then I would use my Rare Beauty setting spray. I don't have much left. I'm trying to use that up. I really quite like this. It gives kind of a glowy look as a setting spray. You can use it underneath your makeup. You can use it in between, layers of powder if you want to meld everything together. You can use it to rehydrate. You can use it as a setting spray. It's called the Always an Optimist 4-in-1 Mist. And that one's pretty nice. And a nice sprayer too. Really fine mist. I like that one quite a bit. Yeah, so that was everything I had for the week that I was using. I didn't use the eyeshadow primer, which I'd like to try and do. I didn't use the NARS concealer, which I'd like to try and use this week. And I think I only used this once. I don't know if I might try and retire that this week or not. So yeah, so next we'll shop my stash and pick out a new week's worth of makeup. Okay, so let's take a look in the first drawer and pick out some new stuff for next week. So I'll need the clips again, keep out of my hair. This is the sunscreen I'm using, so we're gonna go with that. And the setting spray we're gonna keep, try and use that up. I'm not gonna worry about that. What do I wanna use for a primer? I'm gonna use, I think this one, the Tarte Timeless Smoothing Primer. It's like a putty kind of primer, and I have larger pores on my cheeks. This kind of works to fill them in. So you can see there, it's sort of filled in all those fine lines on my hand. So I think I'll go with that one this week. And I'll use the eye base again. And I might need a sharpener, so I'll take that tool out and I'll use my color switch again for that. And I might use 2 primers. I might use, this is the Iconic London Underglow primer. I'm almost done. You can see sort of in the back where it was resting, there's not much left. And it's a blurring powder. Kind of smells like, if you know Cabbage Patch Kids, remember they had the powdery hair smell? That's exactly what this smells like. This is the Underglow Blurring Primer Base. I really like this one, so we'll use that too. I'll use the Tarte one more for pores in the center of my face, and then this one elsewhere. Okay, so this is the drawer that I use for foundations, powders, concealers. That's just a little sample so I know I got some samples and what they are. I've got an eyeshadow primer here. Maybe I'll test that one out. I didn't use the Laura Mercier one. Let's test out the Urban Decay. I got a few samples, so we'll try that this week. And I'd like to try a new concealer. This is the Makeup Forever HD Skin Concealer. I've heard some really good things about this for mature under eyes. So I think there's one here. There's a 2.2 neutral. I don't know where the other one went to, but I think I'll try this one out this week and see how that goes. This was the Huda Beauty one that I'd used last week, so there are a couple other shades in here, but they're too dark for me. I'll probably have to declutter that at some point. So what do I want to use for a foundation? Maybe since we're using the Iconic London blurring powder, let's use the Iconic London foundation. This is Super Smoother Blurring Skin Tint. I find this is more of a medium coverage than a skin tint. I have two shades. I have Neutral Light and Neutral Fair. Fair's a bit too light. Light would probably be good for me once the summer comes along and I'm outside a bit more. But I'll show you what these, so I mix the two right now. I'll show you what this consistency is like. It's very runny, like any other skin tint I've tried. But I find it, I think you could get medium coverage out of that. It is more like a skin tint, I guess, but you can get more medium coverage out of that, I think. So let's try those. For a powder, let's use the Kosas Cloud Set powder. I have this in the shade Breezy. This is a really nice, I don't know if it's a baked, it's not quite a baked formula, it's more like airy than that. But that's a really nice setting powder. So we'll try that under the eyes and on the face. I don't think I'll use a finishing powder this week. I will use my under eye corrector again, so we'll take that. I've got a green color corrector. I think that's it. Okay, so let's pick some bronzer, blush, and highlighter. So I think for a bronzer, I don't think I'm going to use a contour this week. I think I'm going to pick two powder bronzers. I'm going to use the Milani, which is in 01 Sunlight Silky Matte. This is a really nice one. Very soft. Hard to see the swatch. It's a very soft color, pretty neutral, I think. Try that one. And I'd like to do the Flower Beauty one because I haven't used that one very much. This is Heat Wave Luminous Bronzer, so this has a bit of shimmer to it. Heat Wave Sunrise L1. This one is a bit more of a reddy tone, super soft. That one's a little darker and has some luminosity to it. That's really pretty. Okay, so we got two powder bronzers. I don't think I'm going to go for a cream this week. And for blush, what will we use for blush? This is my little blush container. Oh, well, let's do this. I've got the Milani 05 Luminoso Baked Powder Blush. This is a staple, I think, in most people's collections. Really shimmery, pretty orange. That's really pretty, and it's got some nice luminosity to it. So that'll look good with the, we'll just do Milani and Milani. And then I do have a Flower Beauty blush. It's a liquid. It's really old. I don't know. It's the Flower Blush Balm, and this is in the shade Pinched. This is pretty old. I really don't know how, if it's separated. Well, it doesn't seem separated really. Let's see here. It's sort of a peachy color. Doesn't have the greatest staying power, but a really pretty natural color. Yeah, so let's do that. And we can mix and combine those two. So I guess we're going kind of orangey this week. And for a highlighter, if we're doing, let's see, let's do a powder highlighter. Let's use the Essence Pure Nude highlighter. This one's really nice, really soft color. It's a pretty universal color, I think. Really, really pretty, nice little warm champagne kind of color. Yeah, so let's go with that. Oh, let's do one more blush. Let's use, this one is Nude Sticks Nudies Matte. It's an all over face bronze color, and this is in the shade Sunkissed. This is the color here. Kind of gives you the color of a bronze when you're in the sun. That's really pretty. So we got kind of a neat color palette going. That one could be used as a bronzer or as a blush or just on its own. Yeah, so let's use that one. And this one has a brush on the end. I use it sometimes, but I don't find it that effective really. Okay. Now we're gonna go for eyes. So I'm gonna use the Merit mascara again and the Merit brow pomade. Those are the only two products I have like that, so we're gonna use those. Let's try an eyeliner this week. So this is the Makeup by Mario. I think this is called the Perfect Brown. So it has a brush on one end and, oh yeah, that will need to be sharpened. That's the color there. Really pretty, really creamy. Use that. And we're going kind of orangey, bronzy with the blushes this week. So let's pick, let's do Urban Decay Moon Dust. This is in the shade Space Cowboy, which is kind of a popular one. It's really, you can use it as a topper or just an all over, really shimmery. Really pretty bronze color. I like that one a lot. That'll look good with that color we have going on the cheeks. And maybe we'll pick a palette. Okay, so let's use this one by Sephora. It's got some nice colors in it. This is kind of old, but I think it'll be okay. I'll do some swatches of that and we can, they have basically four mattes, and then 3 shimmers on the bottom. That'll look nice with kind of our rusty, orangey, bronzy blush colors. I think that's it for eyes. All right, so let's pick out a lip. Okay, so for lips, that's down in this drawer. Okay, so we're using the Nude Sticks blush. I've got this one. It's in Sun-Kissed Nude, so very similar color. It's an intense matte. Oh, lip and cheek. Huh, didn't realize. I don't think this is the most flattering color on my lips, but maybe we can try and compare it with, if it's exactly the same Sun-Kissed as the bronzer blush. We might be able to combine those a little bit. We'll use that one. Let's pick a, let's do the Merit lip. This is in 1990. This is their, let me see, it's awfully small. Signature Lip Lightweight Lipstick. So it's not a matte, but it's a nice creamy color. That would be some nice contrast. It's a little, and you can sort of build it up or wear it sheer. So that's a pretty color. And I like to put over top of that the Merit lip oil, and this is in the shade Falcon. I find this, I can't apply this without a mirror just because it's it kind of leaves like, you know, like that little line there, and it does that on the lips too, so I really have to use a mirror there, but I like to layer that over top of the Merit lipstick. So we'll do that. And let's use a lip liner. So I only have 2 lip liners, and I used the NYX one the other day, or last week. This is the Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil. This is in the shade Endless Cacao, and I really like that color. It's a nice lip contour shade. So we'll use that. I often use these 3 together. Yeah, and I think that's it. That's where we'll start, and now we'll put it all away and we'll pick out something and do a full face. Yeah, so my thought behind sort of shopping my stash every week or 2 weeks is to, I know I have products in there that I'm not using, and so just help me use what I've got and not feel like I have to buy all the time, because that's not a good mindset to be in. And I know sometimes too for me that shopping in person can be overstimulating, and just it all takes energy. You know, the people at the stores, the lights, the music, it all can be a bit overwhelming and bring on fibro symptoms for me. So it can put me in a flare up if you know, I'm sort of in that push crash cycle already. So I think for me, even something as frivolous as doing my makeup or having makeup as a hobby, it's my routine, it's sort of meditative for me, and I look forward to it. So anything like that, I feel it helps calm my central nervous system down. And we know with fibro, our central nervous system, our volume is up on bust all the time. So my philosophy is anything, even if it's frivolous like makeup, that brings me joy or helps lower my stress levels, it all compounds in a good way and can bring down that fight or flight response over time. If we keep doing more of what we enjoy, that definitely helps us. All right, guys, so now is the part for the get ready with me, and we'll pick the makeup, go through the makeup that we picked and put on a face. So I already did my sunscreen and I did my under eye cream to rehydrate under my eyes. So let's go with some primer. So first, a little bit of background. We're going to use the Iconic London Underglow blurring primer. I have to turn it upside down to get all the stuff out. So about 4 years ago, of course, everyone was in lockdown, and my symptoms with fibro had improved some, but weren't great. I was still spending a lot of time in bed, and I was watching Netflix, I was on Facebook, I was browsing entertainment sites. I didn't even know YouTube really existed. I mean, I knew it existed, but didn't know all that it held. I thought I had found the end of the internet, but then I came across beauty and makeup YouTube channels and I became obsessed. I subscribed to like over 200 channels and I watched them religiously. So, okay, let's put on the primer. So I gotta take my glasses off for this. We'll see how that goes. I got a mirror over here beside me. My hair's clipped back a bit. I don't know if I can get anything out of this primer. There might not be much left. We'll just use what we've got there. So I'm going to put this sort of around the perimeter. I've got another one that I want to use in my T-zone. Yeah, so then once we were able to get to the stores and stuff again, I went to Winners and found like some makeup that some of my beauty YouTube friends were using, so it was kind of exciting. So I started my collection about 4 years ago. I've got more makeup than anybody needs, but for me, I find it very meditative and it's calming and I really enjoy it. So it's a hobby for me. So next I'm going to use the Tarte Timeless Smoothing Primer. So this is kind of like a putty, and I'm going to just put that in where I have larger pores, which are kind of on my cheeks and my nose. So it's a pore filling primer and it does what it says. So I don't find it clogs my pores and causes breakouts or anything, but I do find that it stays in my pores. So I have to make sure I really wash it out. It's pretty lightweight though. There's no real scent to it. Yeah, so I was never into makeup before. Like I wore it on my wedding day, but I never wore it at school. I never had any real interest. So for me, it was kind of a bizarre thing to figure out that I really enjoyed makeup. And like I said, I find it very calming. It's just a hobby. It's total fluff. You don't need it. Well, the hair's a little crazy, but I find it a lot of fun. Okay, so let's do a foundation base. So I've got two of the Iconic London skin tints, blurring skin tint. I've got neutral light and neutral fair, and I mix them together because the light will be better for me in the summer, but it's a little bit too dark right now. And the light, and then the fair is a little bit too light. I'm not even that light in the winter time. Mix them together a little bit. So Let's mix that together and put some on my face. Normally I clip my bangs up, but I didn't today. And what I do is I've got a damp makeup sponge here, and I'll probably put like some of that on top of the sponge just so it doesn't soak up too much of the product. Try and bring the mirror a little closer. Yeah, and I'll just bounce that over my face. And it is blurring, and it is a skin tint. It's kind of lightweight, but I think it's one of the more, it has more coverage than other skin tints I've used. There, so once that's blended in pretty good. Next, before we do concealer, let's use the Charlotte Tilbury color corrector in 2 medium. And again, as I mentioned this, I find this a little bit too dark, but I'm gonna just pat that in. It's a really emollient color corrector. I don't know if that shows on camera or not, if there's much of a difference, but covers up a little bit. Nothing covers up the dark circles quite enough, but next we'll use concealer. And the concealer I've got is, I was gonna try this sample of Makeup Forever HD concealer. So we'll try that. Actually, let's just do the 2.2 in. So that's the color there. Just a few dots. And I'm gonna blend that in with my finger. Okay, so that's doing pretty good at covering up some of the dark circles. Yeah, so let's see. So what does that look like? I think that covers really well, actually, and it does look pretty hydrating. This is really nice. I think this is probably one of the better concealers I've ever tried for covering the dark circles. I mean, there's still shadow and everything, but that's okay. Yeah, and now I want to powder under the eyes before there's too much creasing. We're gonna use the Kosas Breezy Cloud Set, or it's the Cloud Set powder in the shade Breezy. So it has a little bit of color to it. Then I'm going to make sure there's no creases under my eyes, and then powder that, and then make sure there's no creases under that eye, and powder. So you don't need very much. There. So that will set that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So I'll powder the rest of the face. So I'm just taking a big fluffy brush. It's a Quo Beauty one from Shoppers Drug Mart, and then I'm just gonna tap that around to set the foundation and the concealer that I put on. And then that'll keep the powder, bronzer, and blush from skipping and being patchy. Okay, so I clipped my bangs back a little bit and I had to take my face off because I forgot to plug in the mic. Lots that goes into this. Okay, so I've powdered my face and I'm ready for bronzer, and using the 01 Sunlight Silky Matte Powder Bronzer from Milani. And we're just gonna put that on the cheeks. I kind of do it like I'm on the cheekbone a little bit. So just kind of in the areas where the sun would kind of hit your face and bronze you up. And then again on the forehead there too. And just a light, and then I do it along the jawline. And I'm just using light pressure. There, I think that's pretty good. And then we're gonna go with a blush from Milani, and this is in the shade Luminoso. It's a baked powder blush. So I'm just gonna take some on the brush, tap it off, and I'm gonna just swirl it in the palm of my hand so it evenly distributes the color. And then I'm just going to tap that on the cheeks. Just kind of on the high points. So I don't really know, but they say that if your blush placement is higher, then it kind of has a lifted effect rather than being more so on the apple of your cheek or down a little lower. So we'll just add a little more. How that color is coming on, if I've got too much or not enough. So I think that's good. For eyes, so that's it for cheeks. I'm not going to use a highlighter because the blush is already glowy. So let's do brows next. So I'm going to use the Merit pomade. Fills in the sparse areas a little bit, and it's just a very natural look. And the older I get, the more I notice sparse patches in my brows. So it's not a product I ever really used before, but and I do try to fluff them up in the front. Yeah, so for me, that's good enough. Let's think about eyeshadow. So I have the eyeshadow that I pulled. I got the I Love Bloom Sephora palette, and it's a really warm color story, really pretty. I think what I'm gonna do is use my bronzer for my crease, which is a nice way. If you use your bronzer in the crease, that's kind of a nice way to have a cohesive look. And then I have fairly hooded eyes, so I try and do just above the crease to deposit color so that you can actually see it. And I just use a light hand, and if you hold your brush more so by the tip, you're going to automatically have lighter pressure with your hand. And then I'm just going to put that in the crease and then slightly above. And I always, well, I don't always, but it's a good idea to use lighter layers and to layer it up versus going in with too much at once. It's easier to add on than take away. And then I'm just going to tap some on the outer corner of my mobile lid, the outer third, and then I'm just going to drag it out a little bit to try and elongate the eye some. Yeah, okay, so then we'll do that same thing to the other eye. Yeah, I think that's looking pretty good. Yeah, I think that's good for now. I'm gonna get a little bit more on the brush and just pinch it and run it under the lower lash line a little bit. You could use a more precise brush, but I'm just a bit lazy. Okay, and then I think I'm going to use the lightest color from this palette here. And I'm just going to use a flat brush. This is a BH brush, 102. I got this at in a set from Winners. And I'm just going to add a little bit of that color to the brush. And I'm just going to put that on the rest of the mobile lid to kind of lighten it up a bit, and then I'm going to put an eyeshadow topper on there for a little bit of sparkle. Just a very soft, natural look. And you can also, if you find you've gone too heavy with like your transition color or your crease shade, you could use a light shadow like that and just buff it in to soften it out, or you could use your setting powder too. That would blend it out a little bit. And then I'm going to use this Moon Dust eyeshadow from Urban Decay, and it's in the shade Space Cowboy. A nice shimmer. You can use it as a topper, which I'm going to do, or you can just use it all over as a one and done. It's really nice too. I'm just going to add a little bit of shimmer all over the mobile lid and just up in the crease a little bit. I'm just using my ring finger for that. This is sort of like a coppery bronzy color, but I think it also has like a little bit of silver and gold in there too. It's really pretty. and just subtle. There. And I'm going to use setting spray next before I do my mascara, because I do find sometimes that setting spray can make mascara flake a little bit. So this is the Always an Optimist 4-in-1 Rare Beauty setting spray. Shake well, and then this is almost empty, so we'll see how it comes out. Don't breathe it in. Don't open your eyes. Dear God. So we're gonna let that dry. And then before it dries completely, I use my sponge and just kind of press that into the skin, and it kind of melts the powders together a little bit. So if you're a bit powdery, at any stage, if you're a bit powdery, you could add that setting spray to kind of rehydrate everything a little bit. There. And that's kind of a glowy setting spray, I find. All right, so now we'll do mascara. I've got this one from Merit, and it's the Clean Lash, and it's a tubing mascara. It's the only tubing mascara I've ever used. I really like it. It's fairly easy to take off. What I do find with this mascara though, and there's the wand, I think I showed that before, but what I do find with this mascara, and I don't know if it's a feature of a tubing mascara, I can't go in with multiple coats. If I have to kind of get it all in the first coat, it just kind of dries a little bit. Oh yeah. And like I said, I had to take all my makeup off and start again because I forgot the mic, and so I didn't get all the mascara off. So it's not gliding on my lashes quite as nicely as it would have, because it's already got sort of a coat on there. And I got some on my eyelid, but we'll get rid of that once that dries down. If you're not going to put mascara on your bottom lashes, then I wouldn't necessarily put color on or any eyeshadow on the lower lash line. Just might look a little unbalanced, but that's just my opinion. There. So that looks good. Okay, so now we're going to do some lips. So I did pull a couple of products that I didn't show in the Shop My Stash. This is a Milani Keep It Full Nourishing Lip Plumper, and it's in the shade Luminoso, which is the same as the blush. So I bought that a couple of months ago because I wanted to try and push myself to use the blush more, and I thought, well, if I have a matching lipstick, I kind of like matchy-matchy. So it's got a doe foot applicator, and it smells, I can't think of the smell. It's like a slightly mint, almond, cherry, coconut scent. It reminds me, my mom used to make these cherry balls at Christmas, and they had coconut on the outside, and it reminds me of that for some reason. So we'll try that. And then I also have a Milani lipstick. I don't know what it's called. It's a very creamy formula. It's got the black band on it, and it's in this shade Lustful. It's not really my color. It's very pretty and it's very creamy, and I think it'll look good with the blush. And let's just swatch the lip gloss so you can see them kind of side by side. There. It's a very pretty combo. I think that looks really pretty together, actually. So let's try the gloss on its own first and see what that looks like. I have used this before, so I do know. It's a thicker gloss. It's got a little bit of color. It's got a little bit of shimmer, just like the blush, but not overpowering. I think that's very pretty on its own. All right, let's take that off and let's try the lipstick on its own. So the lipstick is pretty opaque, so let's put it on just in a light kind of sheer layer first. Yeah, so that's pretty. It's not really my color, but I think with this level of opacity, it's okay. So let's build it up a bit. So it's pretty opaque, nice and creamy. And it's not bad, but I don't think I'm a super big fan of the orange color. If it was maybe more brown, I do like a brown lipstick. Okay, let's take that off and let's combine the two together and see what they look like. So I think I'd like to put it on just in kind of a light layer. Yeah, that's pretty. And then let's try the lip gloss over top. And I think I'm going to do that just like in the center of the lips to add a little bit of dimension there. Yeah, that's pretty. All right, so we'll take the clips out and see how it all came together. There, so I think that look turned out pretty good, I think. Nice little bit of glow in the cheeks, very subtle. Not sure what you can actually see on camera. Even though it may not have appeared that I was very relaxed recording this and on camera, I do find makeup to be very therapeutic. It's a really relaxing routine for me that I look forward to do every day. It's kind of like my meditation. Some people have yoga, or they do a meditation, or maybe they have a tea ritual or gardening. For me, doing my makeup, I really look forward to it every day, and I do find it very relaxing. But anything that brings me happiness or lowers my stress level, even if it's as frivolous as makeup, anything that helps reduce my stress level helps calm my central nervous system down. And I think that anything that does that for us, it just compounds. So over time it helps. And anything that's going to help get us out of that fight or flight or that high stress mode is a good thing. And let me know in the comments below, what do you do to help lower your stress levels or to help bring your central nervous system down? Or if you're in that fight or flight mode, what helps ground you? I'd be really interested to know. And maybe it's something I haven't tried before. And if you liked this video and enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. It would really help a lot. Thanks.